Hi, folks. Dr. Jim Gishwin here, PhD, and former career intelligence specialist. Say, folks, things are getting weird. Weirder and weirder and weirder. Okay? I'm not even going to talk about that case up in New York. For God's sake, that judge just, he won't allow someone from the election commission testify because he doesn't want to be shown up. I mean, even Judge Alito said those laws up there for election stuff is so complicated that he has a hard time understanding them. And so does Dershowitz. But then again, they had their star witness sit there and keep hanging himself. Now he's the one guilty of a felony. Oh, boy. How you can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up, for God's sake. And now they come out with this document sitting there authorizing the FBI when they raided Mar-a-Lago to use deadly force. What was this supposed to be? An assassination attempt? For goodness sakes. And I understand, from what I understand, okay, there was FBI agents that sit there and said, man, this is nuts. Why are we doing this way? But they were ordered to do it. So they did it. It's a good thing Trump wasn't there, because that would have involved the Secret Service and the FBI having a gun battle, probably. All right? It gets sick. It gets sick. I mean, what kind of sick individual would do that to a former president when they're already cooperating? All they were doing was sitting there arguing about a few documents that he took, and he has the authority to sit there and take them. He has the authority to declassify them. Okay? So some idiot in the archives, some moron, sat there and started this hugabaloo. I told you things would get sicker. I'm afraid I'm not going to sit there and say I told you so. I'd have to spend all day sitting there saying I told you so. Okay? How corrupt and what a bunch of morons these people are that are leading this up in Washington, D.C. I mean, you got the head of the FBI that should be locked up for perjury and numerous other things, chasing Catholics around instead of terrorists. And Merrick Garland, that's doing all of this stuff on purpose, just because he missed out on his chance to go to the Supreme Court. Thank God he didn't make it there. If you could imagine. And this is all retribution from him. It is. Because the Republicans prevented him from being nominated at the end of a session. People, I told you, do not underestimate these people. It's the means to the ends to them. Same thing with the communists, progressive, socialist, it don't matter. They're all the same. Okay? The only difference between communists and the other folks is one controls you and the other one owns you. Communism owns you because you're the means of production. Remember that definition always. Socialism, fascism, totalitarianism is control of the means of production or a centrally controlled economy. Both. Communism is a centrally controlled economy. That's why we had to feed them during their 5-year plans back when it was the Soviet Union and back when China did these 5-year plans also and was starving. But they didn't care about their starving people. Mao sat there and let a bunch of them starve. Okay? You guys got to remember history. History does repeat itself. Okay? These people are not going to let go of power. There is going to be violence. I am positive of that. They've got the power. They do not want to let go of it. Okay? Trump voluntarily walked out of the White House, and yet he's the dictator. And presently, we got a dictator that sits there and just screws with everybody's lives and betrays our biggest ally in the Middle East. And understand this, the Israelis are the same way. They will do anything to sit there and preserve their existence. After the Holocaust, you bet you they will. I'm proud to be 2% Jewish. I found out. I didn't know. My family didn't know. Probably from my mother's side. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. I'm proud to have that 2%. Those are good, proud people. People, only God can help us. But we have to help ourselves too. We have to sit there and have the faith and have our own power. The faith in us is the power, people. Okay? And your power right now is voting. Your power right now is using your voice, your freedom of speech, like I'm doing right now. Now, if we all did that, we'd all be heard. I'm heard by a bunch of people. Yeah, fine. And the bunch of people turns around and tells other people, I hope. And sometimes when you get into an argument, what happens? That third person sitting over there watching you two argue might pick up on something good. All right? So just always think that this is the land God gave us. This is our promised land. There is nowhere else to go after this, folks. Nowhere to go. You lose your freedoms here, that's it. We got a world socialist government. The world domination that the World Economic Forum wants. The world control that these bigwigs that got gazillions of dollars of money want. And that China wants to control the world. That communism wants to control the world. It's all about control, people. You either want to be a slave, a serf, or a citizen. Make up your minds. I prefer to be a citizen. I've always been a citizen. I've sworn an oath to the Constitution a dozen times. With every promotion, with every getting in and out of the service, everything. And these people have forgotten their oath. They had to take it too. To defend the Constitution. That is a living, breathing document. That's why we have amendments. That's why it can be fixed. It can be changed. Okay? It is a glorious document. It's almost like it was handed down from a mountain, just like the Ten Commandments. That's something the world has looked at for a couple hundred years and looked at with envy. Let's not let it crumble to dust and just be a blank piece of paper. Well, anyway, I'm going to let you go. Please keep your head on a swivel. There's going to be violence. I pray for your safety. Do not go out and do any violence, or it'll be visited on you, I'm sure. What is it they say? Don't do what you don't want someone else to do to you. Anyway, God bless you all. I love you, and I remain your humble servant. All right. God is on our side. Have faith. Let not your heart be troubled. Take care.